You think that there's money to be made off of outrage? Do you think if you outrage a certain community that they will consume your content way more?
Yeah.
So. Wait, is that what these people are up
Seems to be how it goes.
Get the f*** out of here.
Seems to be.
Yeah, we got to do that.
So wait, is the Daily Wire an American media platform or is it an Israeli media platform? I'm just asking.
This guy's cooking.
Restricting free speech, one of the core tenets of the American identity. Ben.
Oof. Benjamin.
What is happening? There's trouble in paradise.
See, he was ready. I didn't know this. This motherfucker was ready. I didn't know. I was out. I was going to do other things.
It's no secret that Andrew Schulz thinks Ben Shapiro is a massive tool. He's been roasting him for years across different podcasts, and he's never been afraid to go hard in the paint and say what he really thinks. And don't forget, Schulz comes from a Jewish background himself, even though it was just on his father's side. So to see the latest Schulz epiphany of him ripping into Ben Shapiro, well, it was actually kind of refreshing. Just wait until I show you his epic takedown on the latest episode of Flagrant. But in case you missed it, here are a couple of Schulz's most savage roasts of Ben Shapiro in recent history.
No, the autism, it actually helps you focus on certain things.
Like what?
I don't know. I mean, that's what they say about people on the spectrum.
Yeah, let's ask Ben Shapiro.
You think he's on it?
Oh, autistic Adam Smith. That's what I call him. Dude, let's go. Oh, the free market is like, ask him about anything. You like donuts? Well, the best donuts would be in the free market. Bro, turn it off for a second, dude. Just fucking turn it. We get it. You like capitalism, dude. Turn it the fuck down.
Okay, so what do you think about Ben Shapiro, who won't stop calling?
He's a nerd. Facts, no feelings. Facts, no feelings. You have a yarmulke on your head. Facts, no feelings. Facts, no feelings. Wait, is this facts right here? Is this facts? Did the candle stay lit for 8 days, Ben? Facts, no feelings?
Bro, he could out.
You want everyone to hate you.
He could out talk.
No, it's bullshit.
He could out
The guy's
talk you.
bullshit.
He could talk faster than you.
He can talk faster about one topic. We start talking about pussy, and he's like, oh, well, it doesn't actually get wet. Do you know what I mean? What's the free market say about pussy? He's a nerd. Shut up, Ben. He just goes to colleges and beats up on fucking 19-year-olds that just learned about Marxism. You're not smart, right? He went on one legit talk show with the BBC and got smoked. Did you guys see that when he got smoked by that Scottish dude? Literally, he got in his feelings then, right? Yes. Oh, I'm getting out of here. I don't have any more of
He
this.
left, right?
Yeah, of course he left. Shouts to Ben. Good for you, Ben. You figured it out. Thug life or whatever.
Facts, not feelings. Like.
Yeah.
But on the latest episode of Flagrant, Andy and the Toy Story boys did a full takedown of Ben Shapiro and exposed the massive grift he's been pulling off for years. And I'm not going to lie, this was actually unexpected from Schulz. Flagrant started out well when it was Flagrant 2, but lately it's become like The View for 21-year-old incels. So to see Schulz and his boy band actually offer a good, well thought out take on how Ben Shapiro's basically a fake conservative and monetizing fake outrage for a profit, well, it came as a welcome change from the usual leg-slapping, shoulder-rubbing, nipple-squeezing cringe that Flagrant's become known for. And you'll see what I mean when I break this down, because they spent the first 40 minutes of this episode just taking down Ben Shapiro and exposing the fraud that he is. So armed with his Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Schulz began by trolling Shapiro's media company, Daily Wire, for their business model of profiting from outrage and feeding fear into their audience.
How do we outrage him?
I don't know.
Well, who should we outrage?
Everyone.
Black people?
No.
Yeah. But that's a really good thing to do. I've seen a lot of people make careers off of that.
They don't have the money.
Outraging a certain group of people, right?
Sorry. I wish I wanted to laugh at that because that was crazy.
Thank you.
That was crazy.
Without the laugh, it really just sounded like hate. It really was just dying.
No, but you're right. They broke. So we got to find out.
Now, for those of you wondering, I don't know, maybe you're new here or you just haven't heard me say this, I'm not a political guy. I don't pay attention to the culture wars and all the fear-mongering from the likes of, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, just to name a few. So normally I wouldn't cover something like this on this channel, but the reason I decided to make this video is because it actually captures perfectly why I'm so disinterested in the political culture wars that seem to be in full swing leading up to the November presidential election. And the last person I'd go to for political commentary is Andrew Schulz, so if you guys find this a little bit strange, then I don't really blame you. But let me at least show you what I mean. So if you haven't heard, recently Candace Owens had a falling out with her employer, Daily Wire, which was co-founded by Ben Shapiro.
There's a great interview where Ben is justifying why he fired Candace. And I don't know the extent to which Ben is criticized. I know he's very critical of media and media being biased.
Yeah.
But before you have a media platform, it's very easy to critique media. It's very easy to go, look at New York Times, look what you do, and look at Washington Post, look what you do, and you're censoring free speech, you're for censorship. In this conversation, he makes the argument for censorship. He calls it something else.
Yeah, I forget the term. I have it in my phone.
But I don't even think he's using the term right. But he's basically like, there's a window. So we accept ideas between here and here. And anything outside of that window, well, you're fireable. That's censorship.
What?
But he's acting as if this is like a justified reason for firing people when you built your identity and platform off of no censorship and freedom of speech and facts don't care about your feelings and all this shit.
It's also funny that that window happens to end where his beliefs end.
I am
Isn't it
shocked
interesting?
that you would say
Wait,
that.
not being pro-Israel, that's where the window ends. That's also
What?
your specific personal belief.
What?
So...
Candace Owens has had some pretty whack theories over the years, like the moon landing was fake and the First Lady of France is actually a man. And recently, since October 7, she's been part of the growing voice on the right that have become critical of the Israeli government, and more specifically, how involved they are in American domestic politics. I think this is so interesting because even where I'm from and around the Western world more broadly, since October 7, we've seen all of our political leaders stepping over each other to declare their support for the Israeli government and virtue signal to the public that they're on the right side of history. Now, as you probably already know, Ben Shapiro is staunchly loyal to his Jewish roots, and he's been a strong conservative voice for Israel, especially over the last 6 months. And Andrew Schulz isn't so sure about whether that's a good thing.
Wait a minute.
Crazy. I wish.
So wait, is
I
the
wanna
Daily
look at
Wire an American media platform or is it an Israeli media platform? I'm just asking.
This guy's cooking.
But you can't criticize Israel as a country. That's just another country unless you're saying, and you're clearly admitting that the Daily Wire is an arm of the Israeli, I guess, media or propaganda machine. Wait, is that?
Oof.
Are you manipulating the religious right in America? Are you manipulating the right-wing conservatives in America and selling them country western movies and putting on your little cowboy hat and fake moving in Nashville so that you could take all their money and then in the process restricting free speech, one of the core tenets of the American identity? Ben.
Oof.
Benjamin.
What is happening? There's trouble in paradise. What shall we do?
Yeah, I'm so here for this. There's nothing I love more than exposing elites for their hypocrisy, especially the ones who profit from outrage. And so this is how Candace Owens found herself on the wrong end of Ben Shapiro's loyalty to his mother country. She began to get too critical of the Israeli government and their intentions, which made Ben Shapiro eventually make the decision to pull the plug on her. Just quickly though, if you're not already aware, there's something you need to understand about Candace Owens before I show you this next clip. She hasn't always been a conservative, right? She actually started out on the left, but after she founded the website Social Autopsy, which basically exposed online bullies by tracking their digital footprint and then doxing them online, she quickly found herself on the receiving end of a backlash from the left, which led her to convert to the right. In her words from 2017, she said, "I became a conservative overnight. I realized that liberals were actually the racists. Liberals were actually the trolls. Social Autopsy is why I am conservative." So just like Tucker Carlson, when she went off script and started to voice her own thoughts and opinions, she no longer had the support of her employer.
Can you tell me, because I've looked into it and I haven't found anything outright anti-Semitic that Candace said. Can you tell me some? Because the article I saw...
She liked the very anti-Semitic trope.
Which was?
I think it was...
She liked a tweet?
She liked a comment.
Someone said that Rabbi Shmuley was drunk off Christian blood or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And she liked it. And then apparently she had been like defensive of Kanye. Like it's all like nuanced. I haven't listened to every single little thing, but like the general feeling is like she was not... outraged by what Kanye had said and was kind of like trying to defend him from the media.
It is interesting timing to suddenly get offended by Kanye, isn't it?
Because that was...
Slavery was a choice. She probably didn't have a problem with that, I'm assuming, and you wouldn't... Ben Shapiro, I don't think would have been like, whoa. Slavery is reprehensible, as was the Holocaust, but slavery is reprehensible. How can you say it was a choice? These people weren't they didn't choose to come on these ships and do this.
And why would she be getting fired now for the things Kanye said? Like, I think that was a year and a half ago.
That's also very true.
Well, it was like through November that she was like defending him, and obviously I think the Israel stuff like lit it up.
The comments.
And then she was going back and forth with other co-hosts. I think it was like decorum also. She was like calling out Shapiro, being like, oh, he's annoying.
Yeah, I don't understand why you would hire a firecracker like Candace Owens and then turn on her once she starts being a firecracker. I mean, I agree that she's got some pretty whack theories. I mean, so does Alex Jones, so does Tucker Carlson, but you can't deny it when they hit the nail on the head. And Schulz sees this for what it is. Candace Owens was becoming too popular and she began to shape the narrative on Daily Wire by being one of Shapiro's fiercest critics, right there on his own platform. She was stealing the limelight and putting Shapiro on show.
She's massive. She's the biggest star on the platform that is not a owner of the platform. I think Ben is one of the owners. So you have a very tricky thing where your base, the people consuming your content, are equally drawn to her than they are to Ben. Potentially could go even more. You might have to nip that before she can take a stranglehold of the identity of your platform. So I think that it's not just, oh, you said something bad. I think it's a trend and seeing this unstoppable force. She's not afraid of nobody. She will say whatever the she wants to say. She will debate any single person. She'll go out there and do it, right? Ben Shapiro is debating college kids.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest, right? It's like anytime he debates somebody who's like worthy, he either gets washed or bare minimum stalemate. I've never seen him actually win a debate against somebody who's like educated in the matter. My concern I think the biggest concern about the Daily Wire is that their consumers, Ben doesn't represent their consumers. Back when it was just liberal versus conservative, he was this incredible soundbite machine for conservative talking points, and he was brave, and he would say anything, and he would go out there and he'd interview a trans person and fucking rip them apart. Like he basically had every single nugget ready, locked and loaded, so that all these people who were conservative were now like, oh, you've done the intellectual heavy lifting for me. Great, give me all those talking points. I can use them. He was representing what they needed when they needed arguments.
Yeah.
Now, the culture war has shifted. Now they might need justification for Christianity. There's an attack on Christianity. Trans Day is on the same day as Easter. Christians might feel a little bit like they need more representation. They're not going to get that from the Jewish guy.
Yeah.
I think this is also a symptom of how both sides of politics are fracturing more and more now. We saw how Donald Trump split the Republicans and basically forced them to follow his lead because he was too popular to ignore. And now we're seeing how the left is becoming splintered because Joe Biden is so clearly not fit for office and they don't have the balls to replace him with a younger, fresher alternative because for some reason they think he's the only one who can beat Trump. So what's happening with Ben Shapiro right now, in my opinion at least, is symptomatic of the two-party system slowly dying. There are too many vested interests on both sides of politics, and now with the war in Gaza, it's starting to split up the conservatives and the liberals alike. This is why I've always personally stayed away from partisan politics. I've always been an independent and supported individual policies from both sides. There's just way too much money in politics at the moment, and it's frustrating when you have this random small country in the Middle East with so much power in our domestic politics. And it's not just the US. This is happening all over the Western world. And so Andrew Schulz seems to just be realizing now that all these free speech warriors are just common opportunists who use the badge of free speech to promote their own interests and are quick to justify censorship when it suits their own agenda.
You didn't have enough confidence in the American system and the fundamental core tenet of free speech. You didn't have the confidence in it to just let it happen. You pretended you did when it was beneficial to you. But once there was a moment where having that true free speech could take your platform and lead it in a different direction, you immediately did what every platform does, which is control the speech. And now you're just learning what it is to own a media company. And owning a media company is not free speech. So this...
But can't you just, like to what Mark said about being an absolutist...
Hold on. Wavering on the most important conservative point of his career, which is censorship.
That's an important
and free
point.
speech. This is what his career is built on. He is a journalist, a person in media.
and completely wavering and being a hypocrite on it, to me, doesn't make you go, oh, well, it's just whatever. It just shows an extreme bias. And that extreme bias is something that I think the public should be aware of.
I'm so glad that Schulz had this epiphany recently, and my regulars will know that I'm the first one to trash guys like Schulz, Rogan, Tom, and Bert for being hypocrites and grifters, but I'm also not afraid to give them credit when it's due. I know some of you will be laughing at Schulz for only just realizing the bias across media at the ripe old age of 40, but I gotta hand it to him for dedicating almost the first 40 minutes of his podcast to taking down Ben Shapiro for being a massive hypocrite and basically acting as an unofficial arm of the Israeli propaganda machine. I think that gives him some credibility, even though he's just a comedian. Anyway, that's my breakdown of Schulz exposing Ben Shapiro for what he is. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this, and if you're not a regular of this channel, hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you ended up enjoying this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
If you want to have no standards to uphold, be a comedian. Do you know what I mean? Just be a clown like us. It's very easy.